going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be back to work on my 1965 Ford Mustang. As you guys seen in the previous video, we got the bumper all built out and it is basically ready to weld. And in today's video, we are going to start working on getting everything ready to go, ready to get welded. As you guys know, we are building a custom new rocker on this car and the custom wide body flares, and we kind of just tacked them into place for now. Now what we have to do is get this car welded up so we can go ahead and start doing all the body work and get this thing ready for some paint. So let's go ahead and jack this car up and get straight to work on it right here. We'll just put this right under there. And what the heck is going on, guys? Check this thing out. This thing is junk. We don't need this jack anymore. So guys, it was about time to get rid of that old weak jack, and check it out. We got our new jack in this box. Our good friends over at Bead sent us over this beautiful air jack. This thing can lift all types of vehicles, whether it is a truck, a car, SUV. It has a load capacity 11,000 pounds. It can also lift from 5 inches all the way to 16 inches. It can lift the entire car in under 5 seconds. So we got the Bead air jack all assembled. It was actually super easy. It took me around 5 minutes. Now this thing features a nice big steel plate at the bottom to stabilize it. Now we're gonna put it to use. We gotta lift our Mustang in the air. Check that out, man. It lifted the car so fast, the wheel fell off, and I'm actually glad my laptop didn't fall off because it was sitting on the hood. But man, does it lift up quick, and it goes pretty high in the air. I'm not sure if that's fully maxed out, but it's super easy to use. You simply have these two levers right here, and I think we can go even higher. Now, I don't want to go too high because we'll probably flip this thing in half, and then it's super easy to release. You simply pull the red lever and watch it just go down. So guys, I absolutely love this air jack. It's so much easier than using the other hydraulic jacks that you have to hand pump all day long. And I absolutely do love this super long handle and the fact that this thing is so easy to use. Now let's go ahead and try lifting up something a bit heavier like our Dodge Ram out there. So we got my Dodge Ram out here, and let's just say we have to change both of these tires. What we're gonna do is lift it right here directly in the center and see how this jack performs. So it's as easy as that. We got the Dodge Ram lifted all the way up in the air and ready for some jack stands, and we can get straight to work on it. I'm actually super impressed with this jack. It lifted this truck up with ease, and it's not like other jacks where you have to put blocks and jack it up. You can get it to the height you want it the first time. So if you guys are looking to get one of these jacks, they are actually pretty affordable compared to the $200 ones they sell on Amazon. This thing is only $139 while using my promo code VVJack10 to get that 10% discount. And also VVor does offer free shipping on this jack, so you get this thing quick. So a big shout out to VVor for sending us this jack. I'm absolutely in love with it. Now let's get back to work on the Mustang. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on working on our Mustang. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and start prepping basically everything to get welded up. As you guys know, we have our new side skirt down there, and it is all lined up and pretty much almost ready to weld. All we're gonna have to do is pretty much coat all the back panels with some Pour 15, get everything painted in there. And then also on the rear quarter panel, we're gonna have to do some more trimming and some more cutting to cut more of that quarter panel out. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm basically gonna remove this entire wheel arch right here, remove the side skirt, probably go ahead and remove this fender also, so we can go ahead and start prepping everything up. There's gonna be a lot of grinding. So now this is like the hardest part, is we have to get everything lined up perfectly, get everything trimmed up, get it all ready to weld up, and then we can start welding it, because we don't want this thing rusting in the future. We wanna do everything up to code, you know, so we don't get no OSHA violations around here. So let's go ahead and basically remove everything off this car. So we basically removed every piece of metal on the car. Now what we're gonna do is we need to finish up this inner wheel well right here. As you can see, I kind of just cut it all off because the original one would not work. So we're gonna have to build our own custom one. And then once we do that, we can go ahead and tack that into place, get it painted in with some Pour 15. I'm actually gonna have to go pick that up, and then we can get started on this lower rocker panel right here. I gotta do a lot of trimming on it, trim it all up, get it fitting up perfectly, and then we can start doing some tack welds, get everything into position. And then my brother's actually gonna come over here and help me weld everything up so we can get this entire wheel well area welded solid, painted in, just so nothing rusts or anything like that in the future. So let's get straight to it. So we've been doing a little bit of trimming over here on this quarter panel right here. Basically cut out that piece right there because that's where the patch is going in. And now we're doing some thinking on how we're gonna do these wheel wells. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna completely remove these factory wheel well right here and basically build my own wheel well in there because I don't really like the way it looks in there. And we can also get a little bit more room for the wheel if we do go ahead and just remove them. So what I'm gonna do right now is basically just cut out this old factory wheel well. What we have to do is remove a couple of spot welds right here, remove all this, and we're gonna put this new wheel well into there. So it'll just look much better. And we'll get a little more tire clearance inside there. So let's go ahead and just cut that old wheel well clean out of there. So check it out, we got the entire wheel well cut out of the car. You can actually see all the way inside. Check that out, that is pretty cool. We got everything nice and cut out. I did find a little bit of rust in here, and up here there was a little tiny bit of rust, which we will get all that coated. And now it's time to go ahead and start lining up our wheel well into this area right here. It's gonna be a nice solid one piece wheel well. We're not gonna have the two pieces. There's really no way to connect the quarter panel to the old wheel well without just using scraps of metal and making it look really bad. Instead, we're gonna have one nice solid welded piece. It'll keep all the water out, keep everything out. Because I know a lot of people that do wide bodies, they usually just like tack it up and just silicone everything. And I don't really want to do that. I want to just put one nice wheel well in there, do a nice professional job on it. So before you guys start hating on all this, it's totally fine. It's going to be this nice piece right here. So let's go ahead and do a little test fit and see how it lines up in there. So let's go ahead and do a nice little test fit and see how it fits up in here. Simply slide that in there just like that. So we'll have to do a little bit of trimming. As you can see, it's getting in the way of this right here and it's kind of poking out. So we're gonna have to trim that up a little bit. But hey, it looks really nice. Check that out, goes all the way up in there. And then we will have to trim this area up a little bit too so we can slide it down more and get it more into this area right there. But man, does it look good. So now what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna trim some of this excess metal off over there and do the same thing in the back, get it all lined up perfectly. And then all we have to do is basically make a perfect plate that goes in right here, and it'll get factory spot welded back into the factory spots and then get spot welded back onto this lip right here. So it'll be like a professional wheel well. There won't be no janky wheel well that's just welded together with scraps. And we're also gonna add, it's gonna add some structure rigidity to the car too, because it's gonna be welded perfectly to the quarter panel and perfectly to the frame area over there. So let's get straight to it. Check it out, we got the new wheel well installed, and I went ahead and cut out this back section right here. I kind of did a rough cut, so it's gonna need to be trimmed up just a little bit, and then it's just gonna get factory spot welded exactly how the old one was. But man, check that out. It's a nice, perfect wheel well, and even from the back, it looks freaking awesome inside the trunk. Check that out. That will just get tacked together right there, welded up, and that's mine, and then that's the old one right there. So it's not gonna have this seam in the center, and it's gonna be a little bit bigger. As you can see right here, this back section was actually cut out. So if we do hit a big old bump in this thing, it ain't gonna rub or anything like that. Now we just need to work on getting everything fine tuned up here and basically getting it ready for some welding. And my brother's about to be here. He's gonna actually help me weld everything up, because once we get this wheel well welded up, we're gonna go ahead and get this back section welded up right here. We are gonna have to add a little bit of metal to the bottom section of here, because we did extend it just a little bit. And you can see I kind of just cut this out already, just like that right there. And then that back section will go on there, so it shouldn't be too hard to weld. So let's go ahead and get all this prepped and ready for some welding. So I was in the process of doing some wire wheeling and cleaning it up, and my bros from 23rd Garage showed up. What's going on, guys?
What's up, boss?
I got Nate and Yuri, and we did also go ahead and bust out our Eastwood bead roller. I can't believe I've had this thing sitting on the shelf and I haven't used it yet. And the thing is, you have to use it with 2 people. You can't just use it with 1. And we did actually do some test beads right here. We didn't really draw anything on it, and we just kind of just zooming through it. But man, that's freaking.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Made it pretty stout.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I wish I would have used this on my engine bay. I probably wouldn't have got so much hate.
Yeah, yeah, you won't have that banjo effect.
Yeah, no, but that's freaking nice. I like that. I like the fact that you can just do that with. Well, the thing is, you need 2 people, so I couldn't really do it by myself. I know they do have the electric ones, but we're just learning with this one. And I wish we did have a stand, but we just have a table right here. So what we're gonna do is actually put some beads in this backing panel right here. This is actually the piece that goes in the back. We're gonna put some beads on it just so it looks cool in there, and it strengthens it up a little bit because it is kind of flimsy right now. And I don't want you guys to get really mad that we didn't bead roll it. So let's go ahead. We're gonna do some drawing on here with the Sharpie and then do some bead rolling on it. So guys, check it out. We got the bead roll done, and I gotta say, it's pretty good for the first time doing it. Now all we have to do is go ahead and finish lining everything up in there and get all this stuff welded in the car. So Yuri went ahead and welded everything up, and man, does that look awesome. See, that's why I like having somebody else help me out, is because like I'm doing all the design work. I'm struggling with the design. It's wearing me out. And then on top of all that, I still have to clean it, cut it, weld it, all that stuff. It takes long. But when me and my brother are working, we can just knock stuff out so quick. I have to just hire him to help me finish this whole car. But hey, that looks impressive, dude. Most people don't do it like that. Most people would they'd cut the quarter panel and they'd like fold it in and just make some
just leave it all.
Yeah, I remember we had that GTR at the shop. It was literally, it was a car that was at SEMA. All they did was they cut the quarter panel. They didn't do anything back there. They just slapped it together.
Bent it all
No,
in.
they didn't even bend it. They just cut it and left it. And that car was at SEMA like that, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was the first wide body GTR.
But hey, we got all that welded up. We're gonna do a little bit of grinding on that, a little bit of smoothing out, and now we have to just weld the back panel on, and then we can go ahead and start working on this back piece right here, get this welded up, and then start test fitting that flare on. The flare is gonna need a lot of fine tuning to get it perfectly sealed on the car, because we wanna keep as minimal body work as possible so there's not gallons of Bondo on this car, because I mean, there isn't already. The only Bondo that was really on this car was right here, which we already cut off, and then there was a little bit on here, so we cut that off, and I'm thinking we're gonna cut the roof off and make it a convertible too, so there's zero Bondo.
I like that idea.
No, but it looks good. Now we just need to weld the back into this actual flare, and then we can continue working on the side piece. nice and prepped, and we did have to build a little extension panel right there for the bottom. And basically it's just gonna get spot welded exactly like a factory piece right here. Well, it's a little bit different. It used to come up like this, but I wanted to make it flat. So we added that little extension piece down there. Now it's basically ready to weld. All I have to do is add a couple of spot welds into there, spot weld it onto there, and bam, the whole quarter panel section will be done. This thing is coming together. I'm just impressed with how good that wheel well looks inside there. We went ahead and bead rolled it, welded everything up. We welded it solid all the way through. Look at that right there, all solid. So let's go ahead and get this piece welded onto here. So check it out, Yuri got it all nice and welded up, and it looks freaking amazing. Now what we need to do is go ahead and trim up this area right here. We need to trim this down like that, and then we also need to go ahead and just put a blocking panel in here and then weld all that solid, and then all the work on the quarter panel will be done. We'll have to do a little bit of grinding on this area right here, because as you guys know, the flare is going to go right on top, so we'll probably just grind it lightly, throw a little bit of seam sealer on there, maybe just go ahead and paint it in there, because I am going to go buy some Pour 15 to coat all this bare metal in here, and we can get all the way in there. Also, once we weld it all up, you can see there's access in the back. We did put a jack right here just to push this area out, so once we weld it, it didn't buckle or anything like that. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab some tape this off right here, trim this down, and also make this panel that's going to go in here. So check it out, Yuri fully welded everything up, welded this back panel up beautifully. We also went ahead and cut this little piece out, welded that in there, and man, just check out how beautiful this wheel well is. I'm just amazed, and big shout out to Yuri. Thanks, bro. Hey, definitely guys, check out their channel, 23rd Garage. They post a lot of cool videos on there, so definitely give them a sub and a follow. But man, look at this right here. I'm so happy the way it turned out. And then all we have to do is, hey, can you grab that flare and just kind of line it up just so people can kind of get a see, and then that flare is going to go on just like that right there, and it's going to kind of cover all that up. And then once everything's painted black in there and seam sealed, it's just going to look freaking professionally done. Not only is it welded fully solid, everything just lined up perfectly, and I'm so happy we started using the bead roller. Definitely gonna use that thing a lot more. The only thing is for me is I need another person to help me use it, but man, look at that inside right there. Got everything made, and also check it out in the trunk. It looks freaking good in the trunk too. Everything is welded solid right there. We did also put a plate right there so that the quarter panel wouldn't warp, and it didn't really warp that bad. It's pretty much workable. Looks good, and we got all that nice and welded in. And man, look at this side, and then look at the factory side. That thing is just goofy. Now this,
our side looks better.
oh yeah, once it's all painted nice black, and it can also handle like a 315 tire or something like that, so it's gonna be nice. Now look at this right here, factory. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but once you look at the other side, you're like, dang. I mean, you can't really put really wide tires into there. And I'm planning on just getting an axle from like a 2014 Mustang GT and slapping it under here. And the dimensions are actually gonna be perfect since the car is much wider now. This car is gonna be almost as wide as a newer Mustang, which is nice because it's gonna handle better, it's gonna drive better, and stuff like that. But it is getting pretty late, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We are gonna go ahead and start working on the side skirt. We need to get the side skirt welded on, and I think we're not gonna weld the flare on just yet. I think we're actually gonna do the other wheel weld just like this, knock out the other side, and then once we get our axle in, we'll do the actual fender flares in the end, just to make sure we don't mess anything up, because I'm still not too sure exactly how and where the wheels are gonna sit. It is a pretty big decision, so like I don't want to weld everything up and then the wheels don't line up, axle doesn't line up and stuff like that. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. So guys, it's the next day here at the shop, and man, I'm super happy with the way this wheel well turned out in the back. Yuri just did an amazing job welding it. I almost don't even want to grind any of it down, because I mean, it looks perfectly fine to me. We did also pick up some Pour 15 right here, which we are going to be coating all that stuff underneath there, because a lot of people actually told me to get this stuff instead of just spray painting it. It is quite expensive. This little pint, or this is a quart, cost me $80, so it better be good.
That was 80 bucks?
Yeah, $80 for this right here. I think I shouldn't have bought it. I'm honestly like reconsidering it, because the paint would have been like 20 bucks.
Well, I mean, if it's as good as everybody, well, Mark used it on that Mustang.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say you can paint right over rust, which we have a little bit of rust in there, not really much, so we'll just have to clean that up. The reason why we bought that is because we are going to be welding the side skirt on, and I want to coat the inside of the side skirt and the back of it so nothing rusts in the future, because this thing is already a little bit rusty in some areas, and we don't want no more rust. We want to keep it as rust-free as possible. So let's get straight to work. The first thing we're going to have to do is basically get that side skirt right there and start lining it up on this car, do a little bit of trimming. We are going to have to add a little bit of extra metal, because that side skirt is about 2 inches lower than the factory one. I think 2 or 3 inches lower than the factory one. And then we'll have to weld this right here. And I'm also going to weld this seam right here perfectly up, so there's no more body line right there, because I don't really like that. We like to make stuff flush here, so let's get straight to it. So we went ahead and did a little bit of cleanup on this little lower rocker right here. We have to get rid of the old piece of the rocker that was still left on that we cut off. So now what we're gonna do is actually weld this to the bottom of this, just like that right there. And then whenever we put the side skirt on, we can simply overlap the side skirt on top and drill spot welds in it and weld it up, and it'll look factory as can be. So let's bust out the welder and get this sucker welded on here. So we got everything nice and welded right there, and we also went ahead and prepped this lower piece. You can see we made all the spot welds down there, and that's gonna get perfectly welded to here. Now what we need to do is we need to coat the back side of this and the inside of this area right here with this Pour 15. This stuff supposedly is the strongest stuff, and you can put it right on rust, which is cool, because it would be really hard to wire wheel open there, but there's really not much rust in there. So we're gonna tape off all the areas that we are gonna be welding, and we're gonna grab some brushes, and we're gonna put all this stuff on there. So guys, check it out. We got everything nice and coated in the Pour 15, and we did just roll it on with some brushes. And man, I'm actually impressed, because this quart right here was about $80, and I thought we were gonna use a lot more, but a couple brush strokes and it's ready to go. And we did tape off all the areas we are gonna weld. So let's go ahead and slap it on there and get it welded up solidly. So check it out, Yuri got the entire rocker panel nice and welded, and we also went ahead and welded all the spot welds down there, so it's fully secured to the car. Now the next step is we need to do a little bit of trimming right here. We're gonna trim this off and cap it off, basically exactly how we did in the back. And then in the front, we are gonna have to go ahead and do our cut. I'm thinking we're gonna follow this line with the door because this is gonna actually be welded to the fender. And I'm thinking up here, all we're gonna do is do a nice cut right here. We're gonna follow this line, make a nice beautiful seam right there, so that way this can get welded to the fender, and once we put the fender on, it will just be with the fender. So let's go ahead and do some trimming over here and build this back section. So I went ahead and made the piece for there, welded it all in solid, and it looks amazing. So there's gonna be no empty pockets or nothing that's not welded up on this car. So now we're gonna move on to the front. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow this line, this body line right here, and we're gonna make a nice cut right here and basically box it in exactly how we did back there. So check it out, we got the front area nice and welded. So we got the entire side skirt welded on the car, and a big shout out to Yuri for welding that up. We got the entire rear nice and welded up, and it is really nice when you do all the designing and then you have your bro come in, help you out, weld everything up, and man, did it look good. So you guys definitely check out 23rd Garage. Yuri hooked it up, and he is gonna come back next week. We are gonna do probably go ahead and do the passenger side, knock the passenger side out, then we can go ahead and weld on the fender flares and take this thing to the body shop, get this thing painted in, and man, I think it's gonna look sick. And also I'm gonna pop up some of the renders on the screen right here and show you guys what the future car is gonna look like, and it just looks amazing. Like, just check out the detail. Big shout out to the guy who designed it. I'll drop his Instagram down below, so check him out. He also does some other cool designs in there. But man, I'm just so happy. The vision is coming together. We got the side skirt welded up. Really, the only thing we're gonna have to weld on this is the fender flare, but I'm thinking I might have to redo it a little bit just to get it fitting better than what it did before. But man, I'm just so happy with the way this car is looking. Everything is welded solidly. We got the inner well all nice and welded up with the most beautiful welds you'll ever see on a 65 Mustang. Maybe that was a lie, but it's okay. We got the back section welded up. We got the front section welded up. Same thing over here. And then once we do start working on the fender, we're gonna simply use this piece right here. Once it's grinded down, we'll make a nice gap right there, and it's just gonna fit nice and flush. So basically that piece will continue on with the side skirt. And the reason why we did that was because the flare is gonna weld onto there, and there was no way to get the flare connecting to that without cutting anything like that. So I think it's gonna look good. It's gonna keep a little bit of the originality down there. So there it is, guys. We got a lot of progress done on the Mustang. Hopefully we can finish the passenger side just as fast as we did the driver's side. I mean, the driver's side was a lot of trial and error. You know, I had to learn what I was gonna do, how I was gonna do it, did a bunch of templates, did a lot of cutting. Now I know exactly how we're gonna do the passenger side, so that should be a lot easier because we already know how to do it. But if y'all enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. Also follow us on Instagram at VTuned, and maybe drop a subscribe if you're feeling it. Thanks for watching.